Welcome to World Information HD. Get ready to travel back in time and dive deep into the hidden world of coin collecting. In today's countdown, we're unveiling the top 10 most valuable and rare USA, dirty, Lincoln Wheat Pennies. Yes, those humble little copper coins that, under the right condition, can fetch millions. From tiny minting errors and rare dates, to coins that survived decades of circulation with unexpected twists, you'll discover how what looks like a common penny can become a collector's jackpot. Stick around, because by the end you might just rethink that old coin jar in your attic. Let's get started. Today, we're taking you back nearly a century to the Roaring '20s, a time when jazz echoed through the streets, Model T cars rolled down dirt roads, and the United States was bursting with optimism. In that vibrant era of 1925, one humble coin quietly entered circulation, a simple Lincoln Wheat Penny that, for most Americans, was worth just 1 cent. But today, that same 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat cent could be worth an incredible fortune if you know what to look for. So grab your magnifying glass, coin flips, and your curiosity, because we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. A small copper piece of American history that might just be one of the rarest gems in your coin collection. Let's start with the story behind the coin. The 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny was part of a series first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of America's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. This was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, replacing the generic Liberty designs used for decades. Designed by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the coin proudly bears Lincoln's portrait, a powerful symbol of American freedom and resilience after the Civil War. The reverse side carries 2 stylized wheat stalks, which give this iconic penny its nickname, the Wheat Cent. By 1925, the Lincoln cent had already become an American classic, but not all pennies from that year were created equal. Most were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and these carry no mint mark below the date. While this might seem ordinary, the truth is that some of these Philadelphia issues were made with worn-out dies, weak strikes, and uneven pressure, resulting in lower quality details. Others, however, came out of the presses with crisp features, perfect surfaces, and beautiful luster, the kind of quality that today's collectors dream about. It's that difference between a dull, worn penny and a sharp, vibrant one that determines whether your 1925 cent is worth 1 cent or thousands of dollars. Imagine this: you're rummaging through an old jar of coins left behind by your grandparents. Or maybe you spot a dark brown penny sitting unnoticed in your change after buying a cup of coffee. You look closely and see the date, 1925. At first, it looks like any other old coin. But then you notice it has no mint mark. Could it be from Philadelphia? Could it be rare? That moment of curiosity might just lead you to one of the most exciting discoveries a coin collector can experience. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so intriguing to numismatists, the experts who study and collect coins. The 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln cent had a mintage of over 139 million coins, which may sound like a lot. But over the years, many were lost, damaged, or melted down. Fewer and fewer high-grade examples remain, especially those that have survived nearly 100 years without wear. In circulated condition, where you can still see Lincoln's profile but with worn edges and faded details, a 1925 no-mint mark penny might sell for a few dollars. But once you move into higher grades, where the coin's features are sharp, the fields are clean, and the original reddish shine of copper still glows, that value can skyrocket. Uncirculated coins with full mint luster, strong details, and no scratches are incredibly scarce today. Collectors are willing to pay large premiums for those top-quality examples. Why? Because early Lincoln Wheat cents, especially from the 1920s, were often poorly preserved. People used them daily for candy, stamps, or bread. Very few people thought to save brand-new coins at that time. That's why a perfect 1925 penny, preserved like it just left the mint, is a true time capsule, and worth a small fortune. When examining your 1925 wheat penny, start with the obverse side. Look closely at Lincoln's face, his cheekbone, and jawline. Are the details strong and well-defined, or are they flattened? Check the date. 1925. The digits should be sharp. Any signs of doubling, particularly on the date or the motto, "In God We Trust," could indicate a valuable error variety. Also, examine the reverse. The words 1 cent and United States of America should be clear, and the wheat stalk should have visible lines and texture. Another detail to look for is color. Copper coins age differently based on their environment. A coin with original red or reddish-brown luster is far more valuable than one that has turned dark brown. In fact, grading companies like PCGS and NGC assign designations such as RD, red, RB, red-brown, or BN brown, to describe the coin's color. A fully red 1925 penny in high grade is the holy grail for collectors, and then there are the minting errors. Some 1925 wheat pennies show striking errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, or filled dies where parts of the design appear missing. These mistakes, though unintentional, make the coin unique, and uniqueness often translates into higher value. Let's explore the historical backdrop for a moment. In 1925, America was in the midst of the Jazz Age. The economy was booming, skyscrapers were climbing higher, and radios were bringing music into every home. The Lincoln penny circulated in a time when every cent truly mattered. A penny could still buy a newspaper or a handful of candy. It was a symbol of hard work, savings, and everyday American life. Each coin passed through countless hands: farmers, shopkeepers, schoolchildren, and factory workers. And yet, out of millions of these tiny copper coins, only a handful survived in mint-state condition, untouched by time. It's those few that now hold the attention of serious collectors and investors across the world. Auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt over these coins, with collectors fighting to own the finest examples. The coin's blend of historical significance, age, scarcity, and classic design makes it a cornerstone piece in any wheat penny collection. Now, how can you tell if your 1925 penny is special? Start by examining its surface with good lighting or a magnifying glass. If the coin has minimal scratches, bright luster, and sharp details, it's worth sending to a professional grading service. Even if it shows signs of light wear, don't dismiss it. Some coins with attractive toning or unique character can still draw collector interest. Never attempt to clean the coin. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and drastically reduce its value. Collectors prefer coins in their natural, original state, even if they show a bit of age. If your penny has been sitting in an old box or jar for decades, that's part of its charm and authenticity. Coin dealers and collectors often look for certain visual tells that separate valuable coins from ordinary ones. A sharp strike, full wheat lines, and an even reddish tone are all signs of quality. If your 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat cent meets these standards, you might be holding a true treasure. In fact, some of the most pristine examples have been graded as MS65 red, or even higher, coins so well preserved that they look almost untouched. These are the ones that spark excitement in the coin collecting world. At major coin auctions, such pieces have fetched astonishing sums, proving that even a small copper penny can make history. Collectors see these coins not just as currency, but as artifacts, windows into another time. Holding one in your hand is like holding a piece of America's past, a tiny relic of an era when the world was changing rapidly. The craftsmanship, the copper shine, the image of Lincoln, all tell a story of endurance, value, and memory. And that brings us to the heart of this tale, the incredible value that a single 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny can reach today. While most examples may only fetch a few dollars, those in gem condition, with full red color and flawless surfaces, are prized beyond imagination. At the highest quality grades, a 1925 penny has sold at auctions for an amount that seems almost unbelievable for a 1-cent coin. Yes, you heard that right. The value of a single United States of America 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny has been recorded at an astonishing $41,626. The next time. The year was 1940, a time when the world stood at the edge of chaos. The United States had not yet entered World War II, but the tension was already in the air. Factories buzzed, soldiers were training, and everyday Americans were living through uncertain times. Amid this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued its production of coins that would one day become treasures of history. One of those coins is the 1940s Mint Mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, a small copper coin that has become one of the most fascinating and valuable pieces in American numismatic history. If you ever happen to come across a 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny in your change jar, an old family collection, or perhaps tucked away in an antique box, don't ignore it. That little penny could be hiding a story worth far more than its face value. This is not just a coin, it's a piece of American heritage, one that tells tales of craftsmanship, scarcity, and mystery. The 1940s penny was minted in San Francisco, carrying the distinctive S mark just below the date. Over 112 million of these pennies were struck that year, so at first glance, it doesn't seem like a rare coin. But here's the secret. Not all of these pennies are created equal. Tiny details in their design, minting errors, and their condition can make all the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one that could bring in thousands of dollars at auction. Each of these 1940s wheat pennies was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over the decades, the copper's color has changed, from bright red to a deep brown or reddish hue, depending on how it's been stored. Collectors call these color variations red, red-brown, and brown. The most valuable ones are those that have kept their original red luster, shining like they just rolled off the mint press more than 80 years ago. The design itself is a classic, the face of President Abraham Lincoln on one side, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. The wheat ears symbolize prosperity, strength, and the growth of the American nation, a fitting image for a time when the country was about to face one of its greatest challenges. But what makes the 1940s wheat penny truly special are the rare variations and errors that escape the mint's inspection process. These minting mistakes are like fingerprints of history, each one unique, each one carrying its own story. Some of the most sought-after errors include doubled dies, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. Imagine holding a coin where the word Liberty or the date looks slightly doubled. That's what collectors call a doubled die. It's one of the most popular and valuable types of mint errors. Then there are coins where the S mint mark appears to have been stamped twice, slightly misaligned. These are called RPM, or repunched mint mark varieties. Even a slight doubling or misplacement of that tiny S can send the coin's value soaring. There are also die cracks, where lines or raised bumps appear on the coin's surface due to worn minting dies. To most people, it looks like a flaw, but to collectors, it's an exciting discovery. These imperfections make each coin unique, and that uniqueness is what drives its desirability and value. But let's talk about condition, the single most important factor in determining a coin's worth. A 1940s penny that's been heavily circulated, showing signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, might only be worth a few cents. But one that has been preserved in uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp details and full red luster, can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Collectors use the Sheldon coin grading scale to determine this condition, from poor P1 to the perfect mint state 70, MS 70. For the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny, coins graded MS 65 or higher with that brilliant red color are incredibly valuable. These are the coins that attract the attention of top collectors and auction houses around the world. Over the years, there have been remarkable auction records for this coin. A pristine example of the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny, with its blazing red surface and flawless detail, once sold for a jaw-dropping price that stunned even seasoned numismatists. That's why people today are still searching through old jars, dusty drawers, and coin rolls from banks, hoping to find one of these gems hiding in plain sight. Now let's take a closer look at how to identify if your penny is truly special. First, hold it under a bright light and look at the date and mint mark. Is the S clear and bold? Or does it look doubled, thicker, or slightly misplaced? If it does, you may be looking at a rare repunched mint mark variety. Next, check the details of Lincoln's face, especially his hair, cheek and coat. A strong strike will show fine, crisp lines. Weak strikes, on the other hand, appear dull or flattened. The sharper the strike, the more desirable the coin. Also, examine the reverse side. The wheat ears should have clear lines and texture, not smooth or worn surfaces. And finally, inspect the overall color. If your coin still glows with that original reddish copper tone, you might be holding a collector's dream. Some collectors even use magnifying lenses or microscopes to examine every tiny detail. It's like being a detective, searching for clues that could turn an ordinary coin into a fortune. That's part of the excitement in the world of coin collecting, the possibility that something so small could be worth so much. What's truly fascinating is how these coins survived the passage of time. Think about it. A 1940 penny could have been in someone's pocket during the early days of World War II, passed through countless hands, and traveled across the country before finally landing in yours. Every scratch, every mark tells a story of the people who used it, the places it's been, and the history it's witnessed. And while millions of pennies were made, very few have survived in top condition. Many were melted down, corroded, or simply lost to time. That's why finding one in pristine shape is so rare, and so valuable. Collectors also love the historical context behind this coin. The year 1940 was an important time for America's economy, and for the mint itself. The country was recovering from the Great Depression, industries were booming again, and people were looking forward to stability. This little penny became a symbol of everyday resilience, small but strong, humble but enduring. It's incredible how something as simple as a 1-cent coin can reflect an entire era. That's why numismatists, or coin experts, treasure these historical pieces. They're like tiny time machines, connecting us to the lives and stories of the past. So, if you ever stumble upon a 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny, treat it with care. Don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't toss it aside. Cleaning a coin can actually destroy its surface and lower its value. Instead, handle it gently, store it properly, and consider having it graded by a professional coin service. You might think it's just a penny, but in the world of rare coins, appearances can be deceiving. Some of the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. The next time you come across that little copper piece with an S mint mark beneath the date 1940, take a closer look. It might just be your ticket to discovering an incredible piece of American history. Because one of these 1940s Lincoln Wheat Pennies, in perfect mint state condition, once sold for an astounding price of $38,477. In the fascinating world of coin collecting, few treasures ignite the passion of numismatists quite like the humble Lincoln Wheat Penny. Among these historic cents lies one of the most mysterious and collectible coins ever minted, the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent Wheat Penny. Though it might appear like an ordinary penny at first glance, its story, design, and hidden value tell a tale that has captivated collectors for generations. So, let's dive deep into the history, the artistry, the striking details, and the surprising value behind this legendary coin that has been sleeping in countless jars, drawers, and forgotten pockets across America. Who knows, perhaps you too might have a hidden fortune waiting in your change. To truly understand the importance of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we have to travel back to the early 20th century, a time when the United States was evolving rapidly, both economically and industrially. The Lincoln Wheat Cent, first introduced in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner. It was created to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the beloved 16th President of the United States. This was also the first American coin to feature a real person's portrait, a monumental shift in U.S. coinage design. By 1941, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades. The nation was on the brink of entering World War II, industries were booming, and resources were being conserved for wartime production. Even amid these changes, the humble penny continued to be an essential part of everyday life. Most coins from 1941 were struck in large quantities, yet some were minted with a level of craftsmanship and rarity that would make them precious gems decades later. Now, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike the Denver D or San Francisco S mints, coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark at all. This detail often leads beginners to believe their coin is incomplete or misprinted, but in truth, it's a sign that it came straight from the original US Mint, the one that started it all. When we look closely at the design, the front, or obverse, features the timeless profile of Abraham Lincoln, his dignified face turned to the right, framed by the word, Liberty, on the left, and the year 1941 on the right. Above him is the national motto, In God We Trust, proudly etched in bold letters. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you'll see two stylized wheat stalks curving gracefully along the sides, a simple yet iconic tribute to America's agricultural strength. Between them lie the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. The wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and hard work, gave this penny its famous nickname. The wheat cent. The composition of this coin adds to its charm. Each 1941 penny was struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that rich reddish-brown hue that collectors adore. Over the decades, oxidation, handling, and exposure to air have caused many of these coins to develop a unique patina, a natural aging effect that adds character and individuality to each piece. But what makes the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny truly fascinating isn't just its age or design. It's the range of variations, minting errors, and rare conditions that can transform an everyday coin into a collector's dream. For example, some 1941 pennies show subtle doubling on the obverse, particularly on the date or the lettering in Liberty. This error, known as a doubled die, occurred when the die that stamped the coin imprinted the design twice slightly out of alignment. Such varieties are highly sought after, as they are visible under magnification and can make the coin's value skyrocket. Other rare specimens include off-center strikes, die cracks, and even planchet flaws, tiny mistakes in the metal blank before it was stamped. These accidental imperfections, once considered defects, are now prized by collectors because they make the coin one of a kind. Now, while millions of 1941 pennies were minted, only a fraction have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins that were never used in everyday transactions remain sharp, lustrous, and detailed, and these are the ones that command attention at auctions. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC evaluate each coin carefully, examining the shine, detail, and presence of wear. A higher grade means a higher value, and in some rare cases, an eye-popping fortune. Imagine finding one of these pristine 1941 Lincoln Wheat pennies hidden in a dusty coin jar or tucked away in an old collection. The average circulated 1941 penny might be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition, but those rare, uncirculated examples with perfect surfaces can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands. And in a few extraordinary cases, where the coin is of exceptional quality or has an unusual minting error, it can sell for an astounding amount of money. Collectors today prize the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny not just for its rarity, but for its place in history. It represents a simpler time, before America entered the war, when coins were still struck from genuine copper, and when the artistry of coin design still carried a sense of pride and purpose. It's worth noting that copper coins from the early 1940s have an interesting twist in their legacy. By 1943, due to wartime metal shortages, the U.S. Mint had to temporarily switch from copper to zinc-coated steel. This made the 1941 and 1942 copper cents among the last true Bronze-era pennies before that dramatic change. So, owning a 1941 penny is like holding a piece of pre-war America in the palm of your hand, a relic of resilience and heritage. But beyond history and composition, there's something almost romantic about these old coins. Think of all the hands that may have held them: soldiers, workers, mothers buying bread, children saving for candy. Each 1941 penny carries untold stories, countless transactions, and a quiet endurance that outlived its era. For the serious collector, condition and rarity are everything. A 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny in average circulated condition may not seem like much, but once you cross into mint state territory, particularly coins graded MS-67 or higher, the story changes dramatically. At that level, the surfaces are flawless, the details razor-sharp, and the luster almost mirror-like. These are the specimens that make collectors' hearts race and auction houses buzz with excitement. Occasionally, special varieties make their way into the spotlight, like pennies struck from worn dies or those displaying a slight misalignment that gives the portrait or lettering an unusual appearance. Collectors are drawn to these oddities because they are tangible proof of the human side of minting, the errors, the mishaps, the quirks that slip through the machines of history. If you're searching for one of these coins yourself, pay close attention to color and detail. Red, red-brown, and brown designations indicate how much of the original copper luster remains. A bright red example is the rarest and most desirable, while brown tones show natural aging. Under proper light, you might even see a faint shimmer of its original brilliance peeking through decades of wear. Over time, this little 1-cent coin has become much more than its face value. It's a miniature time capsule, representing not just the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln, but also the enduring craftsmanship of American minting. Whether found in a coin roll, a family heirloom, or a flea market treasure box, the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny continues to surprise and inspire. And here's where the story gets truly incredible. Some rare examples of this coin, preserved in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition, have sold at auctions for staggering amounts, the highest recorded value ever paid for a flawless, mint condition 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny reached an unbelievable $34,000. So, the next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look. That tiny copper coin in your hand could be a hidden masterpiece from a bygone era, a small yet powerful reminder that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary worth. The year was 1942, the world was at war, factories were roaring, and America's spirit was being tested on every front. Amid the chaos, in the city of Denver, something small yet remarkable was struck at the United States Mint. A tiny coin, a single cent, carrying the image of Abraham Lincoln and the proud D mint mark beneath the date, the 1942 D Lincoln Wheat Penny. What makes this 1-cent coin so fascinating is not just its age, but the incredible story, rarity, and value it holds in today's collector's world. You might have one sitting unnoticed in an old jar, in a desk drawer, or in your grandparents' coin collection, and it could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. Let's dive deep into the history, design, and secrets behind this small copper treasure that once passed through millions of American hands during the Second World War. In 1942, the United States Mint produced over 206 million Lincoln pennies in Denver. At first glance, you might think that number makes it a common coin, but not all 1942 D pennies were created equal. Some came out of the mint with incredible errors, doubled dies, and striking mistakes that make them extremely valuable to collectors today. These coins have become legendary in the world of numismatics, not only for their minting quirks but also because of what they represent, a moment frozen in time when America was changing rapidly. The 1942 D penny belongs to the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These coins feature the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, and 2 wheat stalks on the back, symbolizing prosperity and strength. Every wheat penny tells a story of America's growth, and the 1942 D version tells a story of perseverance during one of the most difficult years in U.S. history. At the height of World War II, metal resources were scarce. Copper, in particular, was vital for producing ammunition and military equipment. To conserve it, the U.S. Mint began experimenting with new materials for coinage, leading to the steel cents of 1943. That means the 1942 D penny was among the last full copper wheat cents before the Great Wartime transition. This makes it a final relic of the true copper age, one last symbol before America's coinage temporarily turned to steel. The Denver Mint, identified by the D beneath the date, produced these coins with remarkable precision, but even with quality control, some mistakes slipped through, and those mistakes turned ordinary pennies into hidden treasures. Among collectors, the most sought-after examples of the 1942 D penny include double die obverse errors, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. A double-die penny occurs when the die, the stamp that imprints the coin, accidentally shifts slightly between strikes, creating a faint double image. If you look closely under magnification and see a doubling on the date or lettering, you could be holding one of the rarest variations. The repunched mint mark error is another favorite among collectors. This happens when the D mint mark was struck more than once, slightly off from its first position. These small imperfections make the coin highly collectible, and their value can skyrocket depending on the sharpness and visibility of the error. But even a regular 1942 D penny, if preserved in pristine condition, can be worth much more than face value. The condition of a coin is everything in the world of numismatics. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to measure a coin's quality. A well-circulated 1942 D penny might be worth only a few cents, but if you find one in uncirculated condition, with a bright reddish luster, sharp details, and no scratches, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Many collectors prize the red and red-brown variants of copper pennies. Over time, copper oxidizes, changing color from bright red to darker brown. The less oxidation a coin has, the more valuable it becomes. So, if you discover a 1942 D penny that still glows with that fresh, reddish hue, you're looking at something truly special. Now, what truly excites coin hunters are those incredibly rare mint state examples, coins that have never been used in circulation. These are usually found in old coin rolls, forgotten collections, or inherited boxes that haven't been opened for decades. When such coins appear at major auctions, they often fetch jaw-dropping prices because they represent a perfect piece of history, untouched by time. Imagine this: a coin that cost just 1 cent to make in 1942 could today be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's not fiction, it's reality for the right 1942 D penny. Over the years, collectors and auction houses have witnessed unbelievable sales for high-grade examples, especially those certified by professional grading services as MS67 red or higher. It's also worth noting the deeper symbolism this coin holds. During the 1940s, Americans were rationing goods, recycling metal, and donating every ounce of material to support the war effort. Yet the mint continued to produce the humble penny, not only for economic reasons but as a symbol of stability and unity during uncertain times. Each penny was a reminder that even the smallest contributions mattered, and now, over 80 years later, the same coin stands as a testament to resilience and a potential treasure for those who appreciate history. Collectors often say that holding a 1942 D penny is like holding a small piece of the American story, a moment from the past that survived decades of change. If you have old coins at home, it's worth taking a closer look. Get a magnifying glass, check for that D mint mark beneath the date, and look for any unusual features. If your coin has strong details, original luster, or any visible doubling, it might be time to have it appraised or graded. The coin market today is full of surprises. Rare coins often appear in unexpected places: old jars, estate sales, thrift stores, or even mixed coin rolls from banks. The thrill of finding one of these treasures is something every collector dreams of. The Lincoln Wheat series continues to attract collectors from all around the world. Each coin tells its own story, but the 1942 D has a special charm. It's part of that narrow window between the early copper wheat cents and the steel experiment of 1943, making it both historically important and highly collectible. Collectors often look for full wheat lines on the reverse of the coin, clear, crisp lines in the 2 wheat stalks that frame the words 1 cent. If these lines are sharp and unbroken, it's a good sign your coin has not been overly worn. Combine that with strong color and minimal blemishes, and you may have a coin worth submitting to a grading company. Coin enthusiasts also love to study die varieties, small changes or defects in the minting process that make each coin unique. In 1942 D pennies, some known varieties include minor doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust. Though subtle, these tiny differences can turn a simple penny into a collector's dream. Even though millions were minted, most 1942 D pennies circulated heavily during the 1940s and 1950s, which makes finding an untouched example extremely rare today. Every year, collectors spend countless hours searching through old coin rolls hoping to find that perfect specimen. And once in a while, someone does. So, if you ever come across a 1942 VDB Lincoln Wheat Penny, don't dismiss it as just another old coin. Check its color, shine, and details carefully. Because hidden within its copper surface might be the story of wartime America, and a treasure worth more than you can imagine. From its roots in Denver's minting presses to its journey across the decades, the 1942 VDB penny remains one of the most captivating coins in U.S. history. Its mix of history, artistry, and rarity has made it a collector's favorite for generations. Whether you're a casual coin enthusiast or a serious numismatist, this penny serves as a reminder that even the smallest pieces of metal can carry immense historical and monetary value. And for those lucky enough to own one of the finest examples, flawless, radiant, and graded at the highest levels, its worth in today's market has reached a truly astonishing value of $38,476. Have you ever wondered if that old penny sitting in your drawer could actually be worth a small fortune? Well, what if I told you that one of the most common-looking coins, a simple 1-cent piece from the United States of America dated 1950 with a small D mint mark beneath the date, could actually be hiding a secret worth thousands of dollars? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story, history, errors, and the shocking collector value of the 1950 VDB Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the coins that could make your coin jar worth far more than you ever imagined. So sit tight, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. The 1950 VDB Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These coins, with their classic wheat stalks on the reverse side, are an important part of American history. They were designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, can sometimes be found near the rim of the coin. The obverse side features the image of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has remained one of the most enduring and recognizable in U.S. coinage history. But while millions of these coins were minted, the 1950 D edition stands out for several fascinating reasons. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, one of the main facilities of the U.S. mint system. In 1950, the Denver Mint produced a large quantity of Lincoln Wheat Pennies, around 334 million coins in total. That might sound like a lot, and it was, but the real story lies not in the quantity, but in the quality and condition of the surviving examples. You see, most of these pennies entered circulation right away, and few people thought twice about saving them. This means that while the coin may not be extremely rare in worn condition, finding one in pristine, uncirculated, or red-colored mint state is a completely different story. That's where the real treasure lies. Collectors today seek out what's known as red Lincoln cents, coins that have retained their original bright, reddish copper color. Over time, copper reacts with the air and darkens to a brown or reddish-brown tone. That means that for a coin to remain a full red color after more than 70 years, it must have been stored extremely carefully, away from moisture, fingerprints, and air exposure. Coins graded as red labeled RD on the grading scale are far more valuable than their brown or red-brown counterparts. When you hold a 1950 VDB Wheat Penny in your hand, you're not just holding a piece of copper, you're holding a snapshot of post-World War II America. The country was booming, families were settling into suburban life, and the average wage was only a fraction of what it is today. Every penny counted, which is why people didn't think much of saving a 1-cent coin. Ironically, those who did save them now find themselves holding something potentially worth thousands of dollars. But let's dig deeper into what makes certain 1950 VDB pennies so valuable. The first factor, of course, is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless example. For the 1950 VDB penny, those few that survived in MS 67 or higher grades are the true gems of the collecting world. Such coins exhibit razor-sharp details on Lincoln's portrait, no visible marks or blemishes, and a stunning original luster that makes them look as though they were struck yesterday. Another reason for its desirability comes from minting errors. During the 1950s, the The minting process was not as technologically precise as it is today, and mistakes often happened. Some 1950D pennies are known for having repunched mint marks. This means that the D mint mark was punched into the die more than once, resulting in a doubled or shadowed appearance. These repunched mint marks, often abbreviated as RPM, are highly collectible. Variations like D over D or a slightly tilted D can make the coin even more appealing to collectors who specialize in era coins. There's also something captivating about the human connection to these coins. Imagine a young child in 1950 receiving a shiny new penny as pocket change for the first time. Maybe that coin ended up lost between couch cushions, tucked into an attic jar, or dropped onto a wooden floor in a small-town grocery store. Decades later, that same coin, untouched and nearly forgotten, could become a collector's prize. That sense of history, of holding something that once passed through the hands of ordinary Americans from a bygone era, adds emotional and historical value beyond its monetary worth. As collectors know, copper coins are especially sensitive to their environment. Humidity, air pollution, and even the oils from human fingers can cause them to tarnish. This is why original mint state red coins are so rare. Over 70 years of oxidation can easily turn bright red copper into a dull brown surface. The few that remain brilliantly red, as if frozen in time, are highly sought after. In fact, professional grading services like PCGS and NGC certify these coins and seal them in protective holders, ensuring their preservation for generations to come. The 1950D wheat penny also represents a turning point in numismatic interest. During the mid-20th century, coin collecting began to grow rapidly in popularity across the United States. Families and children would save wheat pennies, looking through their pocket change for certain dates and mint marks. Albums and coin boards became common household items. Some collectors even focused exclusively on Denver mint issues, recognizing that they often had sharper strikes or unique characteristics. Even though the 1950D penny was once a common circulation coin, demand today far exceeds the supply of high-quality examples. Coin collectors and investors alike compete for top-graded coins because they know such specimens are both beautiful and historically significant. Auction records continue to rise year after year as more people realize that these small, humble coins are part of America's economic and artistic heritage. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly makes this specific coin so valuable compared to others of its era? The answer lies in the perfect storm of condition, rarity, and collector demand. Only a tiny percentage of the original 334 million have survived in the top mint state grades. And when these coins are professionally certified as MS67 red or better, they enter a realm of numismatic prestige reserved for the best of the best. The artistry of the Lincoln design also plays a role in its timeless charm. The front shows a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1950 with the small D mint mark beneath it. The reverse side, known as the wheat ears design, features two stylized wheat stalks arching along the left and right borders. Between them are the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America, along with the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one. This design, simple yet elegant, captures both agricultural pride and national unity. Over time, the wheat penny design gave way to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, marking the end of an era. This transition further boosted the nostalgic value of the earlier wheat pennies, making the 1950D coin one of the later issues of the beloved series, and therefore especially popular with collectors completing full date and mint mark sets. One of the most fascinating things about coin collecting is how value can hide in plain sight. Millions of people pass over old wheat pennies without realizing that certain dates and mint marks can be worth far more than 1 cent. The 1950D penny is a perfect example of how patience, attention to detail, and historical curiosity can lead to unexpected rewards. Imagine buying a roll of wheat pennies at a flea market for just a few dollars, then discovering that one coin inside could pay for an entire vacation or even more. It's the thrill of the hunt that keeps collectors searching, There are even stories of lucky individuals finding rare 1950 pennies in their old piggy banks or inherited coin jars. Sometimes, all it takes is a magnifying glass, good lighting, and a bit of knowledge to identify a gem that others have overlooked. The tiniest details, such as a clear strike, vibrant color, or subtle mint mark variation, can make all the difference between a common penny and a collectible treasure. So, if you come across a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, don't rush to spend it. Look closely. Examine the color, the condition, and the mint mark. If it appears bright red, shows no major scratches, and the mint mark looks unusual, you might just be holding something special. In the end, what started as a humble 1-cent coin from mid-century America has now become a symbol of how history and value can blend together. From its origins in the Denver Mint to its place in modern coin collections, the 1950 Wheat Penny continues to capture the imagination of collectors and historians alike. The year was 1952, a time when the United States was emerging strong from the shadows of World War II. Families were moving into new suburban homes, and the sound of optimism filled the air. Yet, while people were busy building their dreams, something small and almost invisible was being created in the minting presses of Philadelphia, something that, decades later, would become a treasure worth searching for. This little piece of copper, no bigger than your fingertip, would soon become one of the most talked about coins in American history. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks just like any other 1-cent coin. You might even walk past it without a second thought if you found it lying on the street. But what if I told you that this humble penny could be worth more than what many people earn in an entire year? Yes, the 1952 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat cent is one of those mysterious coins that continue to fascinate collectors and coin hunters across the nation. So, what makes this small coin so special? To understand its story, let's take a trip back in time to the heart of the 1950s, when the United States Mint was producing millions of pennies every year. Yet a handful of them came out with subtle differences that would change everything. In 1952, the Philadelphia Mint was responsible for creating Lincoln Wheat pennies without a mint mark, while the Denver and San Francisco mints produced coins marked with a D or an S. The Philadelphia coins were usually the most common, but not all were made equal. Variations in metal composition, striking errors, and die conditions created unique specimens that are now considered treasures by coin enthusiasts. The Lincoln Wheat Penny design itself has deep historical significance. It was introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. The designer, Victor David Brenner, captured Lincoln's humble yet powerful image on the obverse side, symbolizing honesty, freedom, and leadership. On the reverse, 2 wheat ears framed the words 1 cent, representing the agricultural foundation of America. But what truly elevates the 1952 no mint mark penny status isn't just its design, it's the condition, rarity, and hidden minting anomalies that make certain examples worth a small fortune today. Many 1952 pennies were heavily circulated, used daily for buying candies, newspapers, and even gasoline. Over time, the details on most of these coins wore down, losing their shine and sharpness. However, a few rare examples somehow escaped this fate, preserved in mint condition, untouched by years of handling. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. When experts talk about coin value, they often refer to grade, a term that measures a coin's condition, from poor and worn to mint state perfection. A 1952 no mint mark penny found in average condition might only be worth a few cents. But if it's in brilliant uncirculated or proof-like condition, it can be valued in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some collectors have even discovered unusual die errors on these coins. Die errors occur when the metal dies used to strike the coin have imperfections. This can lead to double die obverse, off-center strikes, or faint doubling on the date or lettering. Such flaws, though mistakes, actually make coins more desirable. It's the beauty of imperfection that drives collectors into frenzy. Imagine this: you're rummaging through an old jar of coins left behind by your grandparents. Among the nickels and dimes, you notice a slightly shinier penny. You take a closer look, and it reads 1952. There's no D or S mint mark below the date, just plain, simple numbers. At first, you think nothing of it. But under a magnifying glass, you see sharp details, crisp edges, and no visible scratches. That's when you realize you might be holding a rare gem in your hand. Numismatists, coin experts, have long studied the 1952 penny for its hidden varieties. Some versions show light repunching on the date, or minor die cracks on Lincoln's bust, giving them unique visual textures. These features, though subtle, can significantly increase the coin's value. The copper composition of the 1952 penny is another point of fascination. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving them that rich reddish-brown glow that collectors love. However, because copper reacts with air and moisture, many old pennies have darkened over time. Finding one with its original red luster intact is extremely rare and highly prized. Over the decades, the 1952 no-mint mark penny has gained legendary status among wheat cent collectors. It represents more than just a piece of money, it's a tangible connection to the past. Each one tells a story, of the worker who minted it, the people who spent it, and the hands it passed through before ending up in someone's cherished collection. In the world of coin collecting, rarity and condition are king. And when these two qualities come together, the results can be extraordinary. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over perfectly preserved 1952 pennies. Collectors from around the world compete to own a flawless specimen, a shining symbol of American history. But the real thrill comes not just from owning such a coin, but from finding it. Imagine the excitement of discovering that an old penny in your change jar is worth thousands of dollars. It's like finding hidden treasure in plain sight, and that's exactly why so many people are drawn into the world of coin collecting. Even today, people continue to search rolls of pennies from banks and estate sales, hoping to uncover a rare 1952 wheat cent. With the right knowledge, anyone can become a treasure hunter. All it takes is patience, a keen eye, and a bit of luck. The demand for Lincoln Wheat pennies has remained strong for decades. They hold sentimental and historical value, reminding Americans of simpler times, when a penny still meant something, when every coin was made of real metal, and when craftsmanship mattered. If you ever come across a 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, don't overlook it. Hold it under a light. Study the details. Look at Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the letters, and the surface color. If it gleams with that original copper-red shine and shows no signs of wear, you might just be looking at one of the most valuable small coins ever minted in the 20th century. Some lucky individuals have already discovered this. Regular people who turn small discoveries into life-changing rewards. Whether found in an attic, a forgotten drawer, or a box of inherited coins, these treasures continue to surprise even seasoned collectors. And here's something fascinating. The value of rare coins like this doesn't just depend on age. It depends on preservation, rarity, and demand. Even though millions of 1952 pennies were made, only a few have survived in immaculate, untouched condition. Those are the ones collectors dream of owning. Every coin tells a story, and the 1952 penny's story is one of endurance and hidden value. It reminds us that even the smallest things can hold incredible worth when preserved through time. So next time you see an old penny, take a moment to look closer. That little coin might carry a secret legacy, a symbol of history, craftsmanship, and hidden fortune waiting to be rediscovered. Because somewhere out there, in a coin jar, a drawer, or a forgotten collection, lies a 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, a tiny copper time capsule that could make your day, or even your life, brighter than you could ever imagine. And the most remarkable part? Some of these rare, mint-condition examples have been sold for a jaw-dropping amount. A value that proves how extraordinary this small piece of American history truly is. The most pristine 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny has reached an unbelievable auction price of $34,774. In the fascinating world of coin collecting, some of the smallest treasures hold the biggest surprises. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most talked about coins among collectors, the United States of America 1954 D mint mark Lincoln 1 cent wheat penny. What might look like an ordinary old copper penny from your pocket change could actually be a rare and valuable find that could change your life. So, if you've ever wondered whether that little coin sitting in your drawer could be worth a fortune, then you're about to find out why the 1954 VDB Lincoln Penny has become a hot topic in the coin collecting world. To understand why this particular penny is special, we first need to take a journey back to the mid-1950s, a time when the United States was booming with post-war energy, families were growing, industries were expanding, and coins like the 1954 VDB penny were circulating in the hands of millions of Americans. Produced at the Denver Mint, this penny carries the small letter D right below the date, indicating its origin. But even though over 250 million of these coins were struck, not all of them were created equal. Some left the mint with tiny but extraordinary details that make them rare and incredibly valuable today. The Lincoln Wheat Penny itself holds a special place in American history. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's face. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side shows a detailed portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse displays two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and strength. That's why collectors often call these coins wheat pennies. Between 1909 and 1958, these iconic designs were struck, and even today, they remain one of the most beloved coin series in U.S. history. Now, what makes the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny so fascinating isn't just its age, but the small minting errors and unique variations that appeared during production. When the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of coins, machinery wasn't perfect. Dies wore out, were sometimes misaligned, or even repunched. As a result, a number of 1954 VDB pennies came out with unusual characteristics. Some have a double die, where certain parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled. Others have repunched mint marks, where the D looks slightly offset, or shows signs of being struck more than once. These imperfections, though small, have made collectors go wild. Imagine holding a penny where the date 1954 looks doubled, or the D mint mark seems to shadow itself. That tiny difference can make the value jump from just a few cents to thousands of dollars. That's the thrilling part about coin hunting, the excitement of not knowing whether the next coin you pick up could be one of those rare treasures. But even without major errors, some 1954 VDB pennies stand out because of their condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition means everything. A coin that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, with all its original shine and crisp details, is called mint state. These are graded on a scale known as the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 means the coin is in perfect, flawless condition, something extremely rare. Most coins that were circulated have scratches, wear marks, and discoloration, which lowers their grade. But when a 1954 VDB penny appears in a mint state 65 or higher, collectors take notice, and they're willing to pay thousands for it. The reason collectors are willing to spend so much comes down to scarcity and demand. While the Denver Mint struck millions of these coins, very few have survived in pristine condition after decades of circulation. The copper used in these pennies tends to darken, spot, and scratch easily, meaning that every high-quality survivor becomes a prized possession. A perfect combination of rarity, historical value, and condition makes the 1954 VDB penny a dream find for numismatists. Beyond condition and mint errors, there's also the story of why these pennies matter to Americans. For many people, collecting Lincoln Wheat pennies is more than just a hobby, it's a connection to history. These coins were used during times of great change, the post-war boom, the rise of television, the early days of the Cold War, and the growing American dream. Holding a coin from 1954 feels like holding a small piece of that past, a physical reminder of the hands that may have used it to buy candy, a newspaper, or a bus ticket 70 years ago. Another layer of fascination comes from the fact that coin collecting has transformed dramatically in the last few decades. With the rise of online marketplaces, coin auctions, and grading services, collectors can now easily buy and sell rare coins across the world. The value of the 1954 D penny has been steadily increasing as collectors hunt for perfect examples or rare error varieties. Some rare specimens have shown extraordinary returns, with their prices skyrocketing at major auctions. Let's take a closer look at the design that still captures collectors' imaginations. On the obverse side, the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln stares forward, his gaze dignified, symbolizing leadership and resilience. The words, "In God we trust," curve gracefully above his head, while "Liberty" sits on his left and the date, 1954, on the right, just above that small but powerful D. Flip the coin over, and the reverse features two detailed wheat stalks arching along the edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above those, the phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, stands as a reminder of unity and strength. Collectors love these design details because they reflect both artistry and symbolism. Every curve, every letter, tells a story. It's more than just metal, it's American craftsmanship at its finest. That's why even after all these decades, the 1954 D penny continues to capture attention. If you're wondering how to tell whether your 1954 D penny might be valuable, here's what to look for. First, inspect the coin's condition under good lighting. A bright copper red tone means it's been well preserved. Next, check for any doubling or strange marks around the numbers or letters. If the D mint mark looks slightly out of place or doubled, that's a good sign you might have something special. You can also check if the coin has strong details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. These are often the first areas to show where. If you think your penny might be valuable, it's best to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its authenticity and assign it a grade, which can greatly increase its value if you ever decide to sell it. Many collectors and dealers will pay premium prices for professionally graded coins, especially if they're listed as MS65 red or higher. It's also interesting to note that while the Denver Mint produced more coins in 1954 than the Philadelphia Mint, some Denver pennies actually show better striking quality. However, a small number of errors slip through quality control, and these are the ones collectors love most. Repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or doubled dies from Denver are some of the most desirable error types for the 1954 D wheat penny. Over the years, stories have circulated of lucky individuals finding rare 1954 D pennies hidden in old jars, drawers, or even inside inherited coin collections. What's so captivating is that these coins might be sitting right under people's noses. Ordinary-looking pennies that carry an extraordinary secret. That's the beauty of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery and the mystery of value hidden in plain sight. So, if you ever come across a 1954 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, don't rush to spend it or toss it aside. Take a closer look. Check its color, its shine, and those tiny little letters and numbers that might make it stand out. You never know, you could be holding something that's not just old, but rare and incredibly valuable. The next time you search through your change or an old coin jar, remember that each penny has its own story. And among them, the 1954 D Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny stands as a gleaming example of history, artistry, and hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. Because yes, there are collectors out there today willing to pay an astonishing price for one of these rare, pristine coins. And the highest recorded value for a stunning 1954 D mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny has reached an incredible $49,266.